And Damian Farrow's work, he talks a lot about skill training for instinctive sports, invasive games like hockey, basketball, soccer, lacrosse, things of that nature. Random repetition of tasks versus block training. That sequentially orders drills according to skill, develops adaptations in different contexts. Okay? So understand the difference between block skill training, which is like isolation, right? It's a building block approach, versus random variability, where you introduce the complexities of the game. And then you try to teach or learn the skill within the context of how the game's played, with those complexities present, okay? And so Damian Farrow talks a lot about specificity or alignment, okay? The more you can train the skill under the context of how the game's played, the transfer of that skill is likely to be more successful. If all we do in practice is set up a false environment, right? We set up a perfect environment. We don't put any pressure on the puck carrier, or we don't put any pressure on the receiver, or there's isolation, things of that nature, and that's all we do, okay? The transfer of that skill will probably not be very effective in a game environment. And I think when you stop and you think about it, it makes a lot of sense, right? So the importance of specificity in how we train is really important. Damian Farrow draws a distinction between learning a skill and performing a skill. When we're learning a skill, maybe at the beginning stages, we remove pressure, we remove fatigue, and that's where isolation has its place, right? But once a player, I would argue that once a player has acquired some competency, that we should start to introduce the complexities of the game at the early ages, and now allow that skill to be trained and developed within the context of how the game's played, right? We can't get stuck in isolation mode. We have to graduate to an environment that's more specific to how the game's played, for all of the reasons that we're talking about, right? Preparing for competition, practice environment that simulates actual game stress will build the adaptations required for successful transfer of the skills.